magnets that you are creating are resonating with your target market. Then we're going to talk about, what paid advertising platforms you should start with, if any, depending on where you are and how to go about that. So if you're tuning in on live, hashtag team live. If you're tuning in replay, hashtag team replay. And then also we're going to do a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them below. I will be happy to answer any and all questions that you have. But first, I want to start off by talking about a little bit about inbound lead generation. Obviously, there's outbound lead generation, which consists of cold calling, any sort of direct outreach. That is what we call outbound marketing. And then on the other side, we have inbound marketing, which is a little bit different, in terms of how you're going about prospecting your clients, whether that's through paid advertising, whether that's, through any other form of inbound marketing, sales teams, etc. So I want to talk about first, whatever niche that you're in. Hey, Claude, how you doing? Whatever niche that you're focusing on. So, for instance, if I was focusing on stem cell clinics, right? And I'm just using that as an example. It's an example niche. If we're talking about stem cell clinic, well, the first thing I want to figure out before I can create any lead magnets is what are some problems within that space, right? What are some problems in which that these stem cell clinic owners are facing, in which that we can create lead magnets that will help provide, help exchange value in exchange for their information. So how would I do that? How would I go about figuring that out? Well, a few things that I can do is I can obviously use platforms like LinkedIn. I can use Facebook groups. I can use Quora. I can use, if you guys don't know what Quora is, it's a forum. It's a forum site where you can ask questions and get questions answered. But if I wanted to say, if I wanted to say, okay, what are some issues that these practice owners are facing? One of the things that I can do is I can go and look at groups. All right, LinkedIn and Facebook are extremely powerful with the groups that they have. Obviously, you guys, anyone who's in this group probably has a strong understanding of how Facebook groups work. But if you've never used LinkedIn groups before as well, they're extremely powerful. So let's type in stem cell clinics. Right, so you use different keywords to, kind of search it out and see what's out there. So I'd click more, and then I would go to groups. And I can see here, stem cell training professional. Maybe that's not the right keyword to use. What if we just try stem cell? And here you go. So International Society of Stem Cell Research, stem cell research, so stem cell clinical trials. These are the groups in which that I want to join. And you can see that, 15,000, 13,500, 9,000. So, I'm not saying that everyone in these groups are active, but what I am saying is that this is a great place to start gathering some customer research about whatever problems your niche market is facing. So that way you can put together and save time on putting together lead magnets that have a higher chance of converting. So what I would do is I would, obviously use LinkedIn. I would go into obviously Facebook groups as well, and I would start to see who is actually communicating. Obviously, because if there's out of 15,000 people in the group, who is communicating the most, who's being the most active, who's posting the most. So you can see the same thing here on Facebook. I can join these groups as well, Stem Cell 101, Stem Cell Discussion Information, and these are the groups that I want to join. And you can see like how many posts that they're averaging per week, so it tells us how active that specific group is. So the first thing that we want to do, and this is what I always recommend, is don't come in too hot. Join these groups, sit there for a day or two, kind of just feel it out, see what people are talking about, see the type of information that you're getting from these groups. So, and I can also, obviously, as time goes on, I can connect with people via LinkedIn based off the group. So, as I'm scrolling through here, I can see that there's 14,000 people. I can kind of get an idea of what the group is about, whatever the rules are about, right? And then I'm going to request to join. So, and I'm going to do that for as many groups as LinkedIn will allow me to do, and I'm going to do the same thing for Facebook. Again, these are free outlets for us to do some customer research and really figure out what problems our niche market is facing. So I can obviously join this group. Again, want to focus on joining active groups. So as we keep going and keep. Throw this out, and as I'm in these groups, I'm going to just sit back and I'm going to see who is what people are saying, who is actually engaging. I'm going to start by trying to provide as much value as possible. Now, what does that look like, right? You can get very excited, and when you get into these groups, and I gotta get clients, I gotta start doing this. But it's important to just first be a normal human being and have normal conversations with people in the group. Whether that's answering people's questions, that's a great way to get started. So as you join these different types of groups, focus on just answering questions that people ask, right? And then people are going to see you as somebody they can come to ask questions. They're going to see you more as somebody who has some sort of credibility rather than just trying to pitch. So that's a great place to start. I would say do that for the first 3 to 4 days. Really spend some time collecting some market research, asking the right questions. Maybe one of the questions that you want to ask is what are some of the top marketing challenges that you face as stem cell professionals, right? Great question, because it tells us, hey, if that's who our agency is focusing on, then that gives us an opportunity to see, okay, what marketing challenges are they facing, so we can then create lead magnets that resonate with them and that are going to actually get through to them. So after we've done our market research and after we've collected enough feedback where we see common answers across the board, so let's say we ask the question, what is the top challenge that what are the top marketing challenges that you're facing as a stem cell clinic, right? Well, based off the commonalities and the same answers that are being given is going to tell you what the problems are, because maybe out of 100 people you get 90 different answers, but then you get 10 are the same. Well, that 10 becomes that commonality in which that you want to craft your lead magnet around. And then once you know exactly what your niche market needs help with, what their biggest challenges are, the next thing you could do is then create the lead magnet. Now, there's 2 different ways you can do this. I mean, not 2. There's many different lead magnets that we can create. We can create checklists. We can create ebooks. We can create mini courses, value videos, right? Case study videos, webinar presentations. You name it. There's a ton of different lead magnets that you can start with. I would recommend starting with some form of written content, unless you do have case studies in which that you can show results for, or you have enough experience in the space where that you can craft a value video that will get through to your target audience. But if you're not there yet, don't worry about it. I would focus on creating just a lead magnet that you can then turn into an ebook. So how do we do that? Okay, so I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this website. It's called ineedarticles.com. It is awesome. I'll show you what it looks like on the back end. So I log into my account and I can get any articles created for anything that I want. So articles, product reviews, article rewrites. You can even get ebooks created if you want. So all you have to do is actually just fund your account, and then you go to requests. Let's see. Right, I can see all my orders here, right? And then if I go to articles, I now can then focus on whatever the keywords that I want to focus on. So for instance, if I was targeting stem cell clinics and I realized that, hey, they were having problems with getting more patients to the practice, I would put 10 ways stem cell clinics get more patients using whatever that product or service is. All right, so maybe for this, we're just going to say using digital marketing. All right, and then we're going to basically create an article of 10 ways stem cell clinics can get more patients using digital marketing based off of our market research. Okay, and then you can add instructions and details here, however many word count you want. I always recommend anywhere between 700 to 1,000 words, probably where you want to be. And then there's things like here where you can do, guaranteed 24-hour delivery. This site has a really quick turnaround time, so I don't ever really click this unless I'm like in dire need of an article. Must have writing experience, and this is great because you can actually target based off of health. So, you can see here that if I was going to look for something like stem cell, I can scroll down and see if they actually have anything, and if they don't, no problem. What's the next closest thing that they have? So, maybe it's chiropractic care. Maybe it's something like acupuncture, right? So, I mean, you got to play around with it. But if I was going to be looking for stem cell, I would probably look right here, chiropractic surgery. Okay. And then you can do things like, guaranteed 4 or 5-star writer. I always like to do this because it just shows me that I'm getting, quality work for what I'm actually doing. You can also include imagery along in the article, completely up to you. You can see it's a little bit expensive. So what I like to do is I'll get the article written and then I'll add my own photos afterwards. And then you just click I understand, boom, submit request. When it's done, you'll get the article in probably like 24 hours. And then what you do is that all you have to do from there is open up a Word document. And I'll show you what this looks like on one of the current ones that I have. Right, so LinkedIn for Business, the ultimate business marketing guide. This was lead magnet that I used. So as I have here, what I would do is I would put it into a Microsoft Word doc. Right, something like this. Copy and paste it, format it properly. Obviously, if you want to add photos in here, by all means. If you don't want to do this yourself, have a graphic designer or VA put it together for you. Completely up to you. But I just wanted to go about showing you how we can create lead magnets quickly. Right, so make this a little bit bigger, okay. All right. Right, and again, we're just going through here, we're just formatting it the right way just to make sure that everything looks the way we want it to look. Okay, you can throw your logo on top of here just to obviously have some branding purposes for this. Now, all you have to do here to actually turn this into a lead magnet is simply just File, Save As, Save As, and then you'll see where it says Format, right? And if we save it in the form of a PDF, okay, desktop, right, and now we have right? And now we have our very first lead magnet that we can use to start getting some more inbound leads, okay? So, very simple. Again, if you want to add some design here, that's completely up to you. If you want to just focus simply on just getting something with value, getting it ready to go, this is how I would do it. You can get a really good lead magnet within 48 hours. If you want to write it yourself, great, completely up to you. And then the next step, if you're using something like ClickFunnels, great. It's very simple to create landing pages in ClickFunnels. So you can create landing pages in ClickFunnels, and then what you can do is you can either host this document in ClickFunnels as a digital download, or you can use something like AWS, Amazon Web Services. If you're not using it, it's extremely powerful. I would recommend it to anyone who is, using, any sort of PDFs that they're trying to download and whatnot. But so just log in to your AWS Management Console. Right, it's called Amazon S3. So we just click Amazon S3 here. Again, if you don't have, it's actually free to set up an account for Amazon Web Services. So it's very, very simple. And then at the same time, if you want to use ClickFunnels, by all means, it's completely up to you. But you can see here that what it does is it actually creates the link for us. So to give you an example, if I were to click this link, this now takes me to a lead magnet in which that I created here, as you can see. Right, and then people are able to download this from my landing page. So obviously these are the first initial steps of making, creating inbound lead generation strategies, is having different lead magnets for your niche market. And I always recommend starting with one, but as you go on, the more lead magnets you have, the more avenues in which that you have inbound leads coming in, the better off you'll be. So what does that mean? Well, so maybe, right, you start with something like this, okay? You know, if we're talking again about stem cell clinics, it could be, you know, 10 ways to increase your, 10 ways to increase, to get more patients to the door using digital marketing, okay? What you can then do from there is actually transcribe that lead magnet here into a video, right? So now, without having to do a ton of, having to create 2 separate lead magnets from scratch, you can use certain information in here to create a value video for your prospects. All right. Now, again, this is just focusing on repurposing the content, just so that way we don't have to work harder than we have to. And for our prospects, they feel like they're getting 2 separate pieces of valuable information. And the truth is that people perceive information in different ways. Some of us perceive information better through reading it, and some of us perceive better through watching videos. Doesn't make anything right or wrong, but it just gives you an opportunity to create different avenues to have people opt in from. So once I actually create my lead magnets, that after I've done my market research, after I've asked the right questions, after I've collected enough feedback, I've then now created my lead magnets, and now it's time to actually figure out how you're going to drive people to your lead magnet. So what this actually looks like, so if we were to use something like, I'll show you here. And again, if you have any questions, please ask below. If you're tuning in on the live, #TeamLive. If you're tuning in the replay, #TeamReplay. Right now we're talking about how to create lead magnets that are going to resonate with your niche market, and also now how to start driving traffic through your inbound funnel. So, what does this look like, right? So we have our traffic sources here. So this could be, wherever you're driving traffic from. So LinkedIn, Facebook ads, Google ads. It can even be organic. Let's say you meet someone at a trade show, right? You can then send them this lead magnet to collect their email address. But all of these essentially are going to be going to your lead magnets, right? So it could be an ebook. It can be a value video, right? And then, these are your traffic sources. So let's say Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and let's say Google. Okay. So these are your traffic sources. All of your traffic sources, no matter if it's direct outreach or inbound, is you're going to be driving people to your lead magnets. So maybe you start with one lead magnet, and then you can then add another one as you go in there. And focus on, one value video for one niche market, one ebook for the same niche market. And from here, what it looks like is we then, no matter what they do, whether it's here, whether they watch the value video or the ebook, they're going to get follow-up email sequences. All right, so they're going to get, a 3 to 5 day email sequence that we are going to use to nurture those leads. So email. Right, email. And the whole goal with this is to drive people to a calendar page to schedule an appointment. So basically what we're saying is that they've consumed our information. They found it interesting enough to exchange their information for our piece of valuable content. And now they're in our funnel, right? So they've gone from at the top of our funnel, now we're working them through the middle of the funnel. Our goal is to try to get them on the calendar. And then from the calendar, what I have found to be extremely valuable is to add some form of application process to qualify that lead before you even get on the phone with them. So what does that application look like? I will show you. So for for marketingagency.com, we offer free strategy sessions for anyone who's interested in the programs, and even on the consulting side. So any consulting clients that we take on, they have to fill out this application. Now, this comes after watching a webinar video. This comes after watching one of our 5-day mini courses or any sort of lead magnet that we offer. Excuse me, that next step is going to be to get them to on a calendar page. Now, we can use, I'm using here schedule once, but you can easily use something like Calendly. That's completely up to you. It's extremely user-friendly. But what this does is that it's qualifying them one step further. Why? Because they've watched our information, right? They've watched the value that we've given them. They have found it valuable enough to now consume it and now book a calendar time around their availability and ours. So rather with outbound, where you're constantly having to chase down decision makers to get them to schedule appointments, we're basically saying, hey, this is the next step of qualification here. You need to book a time on your calendar because you want what we have to offer so bad, right? To get to that desired outcome, that we need you to book a time on your calendar around our availability and yours. And the big thing for that is that, it comes from, they're the ones that are actually choosing the time that works for them, which is awesome, because that makes it in which so that we know that they're going to block that time off, right? Or that's the goal. And then the next step here is the application process. So you can see here that once actually someone fills this out, right? So let's say they do Thursday at 11, click continue. The next step, they fill this out, right? So I'll show you what it looks like. The next step here is they go into a client application form. And this is just so we can qualify them one step further. And think about it like this. If they actually took the time to click on one of our ads or to go to one of our lead magnets, they gave us their first name, their last name, their email, maybe we even asked for their phone number, so they were interested enough to give us that information. They consumed the content, right? Whether it took them 20 minutes or an hour, whatever it was, they took time out of their day to consume the content. From there, we then get them to book on a calendar appointment, right? That works around their availability and ours. And then we want them to fill out that application so that way we know if this is even a prospect that we want to work with. Maybe it seems like a great prospect, and maybe they just don't have the budget, right? So these are the type of questions that we ask. Now, specifically, this is built around agencies because that's the business model for marketingagency.com. We coach agency owners. But you can see here, it'll be very similar for any niche market in which that you're focusing on. Name, last name, email address, what's your call preference, video call or phone call. Now, usually we always like to, do a video call if we can. Always like to get our prospects face-to-face. What's their phone number, Skype ID, whichever works best for them. Their actual business website, so we can do a little bit of due diligence beforehand. Were you referred by one of our clients? Always a great question to ask because if you're, we offer referral fees, and I highly recommend you do the same. What is the current monthly revenue of the agency you'd like to discuss? Now, this can obviously switch to whatever business that you're focusing on. So, what is the current monthly revenue of the dental practice you'd like to discuss or the business you'd like to discuss? Very simple. And then what this tells us right here is, okay, based off of whatever that is, will tell us, okay, I will have an understanding of where they're at as a company and if they can, what prices in which that I can afford to charge based off what their revenue is. Now, if someone's doing $5,000 a month, chances are they can't afford to pay you $2,000 a month through their marketing. But if someone's generating $50,000 or more, right, that means they're close to $1 million a year in annual recurring revenue. They probably can afford to pay you that $2,000, $2,500 a month retainer, if not more. Next question I like to ask is, if you can change one thing in your life and business in the next 12 months in a perfect world, what would it be? The reason why I like to ask that question is because it tells us what they want as their desired outcome, right? This business owner they've watched our content, they've filled out an application form because they're having a problem that they need fixed. Now, they're trying to figure out who can help them solve it. That's why they're consuming the information. So this helps us understand, hey, what does that desired outcome for them look like, right? And that is the biggest problem in which that we want to try to solve for them. This is based off what they tell us here, will tell us, hey, this is the solution that we're going to help you solve, and this, whatever the answer to this is, will be the outcome of hiring us to fix this problem, okay? Tell us a little bit more about your current business. Who do you serve? What do you sell? And what are your price points? Why? Because we want to make sure, we want to know, one, who's their niche market, what products and services do they sell, and what is their price point? Do they offer a high-ticket product or service? Because those are the type of prospects in which that we are looking for. How long have you been using the internet to grow your business? Just to get an idea, hey, have you used digital marketing before? If not, what other marketing strategies have you currently used or have you tried previously? Because maybe they've tried Facebook ads before and it didn't work for them. Or maybe they've tried Google ads or they've tried SEO and it didn't work for them. Figure out why, that's a question in which we ask, why didn't it work, right? Or, hey, if you haven't tried this yet, I think that you should, I think this could really benefit you, depending on what product or service that you're trying to offer. Next question I ask is, if someone advised me to invest $1,000 into my business, I would say, 3 questions. We're using this as a mental game, right? No, it's what any serious entrepreneur needs to grow their business. Would be a little hesitant, yet with proven systems, I would do it because I'm serious about growing my business. Stay away from it at all costs because I'd rather do things as cheaply as possible. Obviously, if they choose this, they're not someone who's qualified. If they choose this, they just need a little bit of love. And if they choose this, they're a serious entrepreneur who's serious about growing their practice. And then I always like to ask this question. Right now, I first have the financial resources to invest in growing my business. 2, have access to the financial resources to invest in growing my business. Or 3, I don't have any financial resources right now, and I'm happy keeping my business exactly where it's at. If they tell us, obviously, if they check off the first box, then we know right off the bat that, hey, this person has the financial resources to invest in their business. This is someone who's qualified, right? So all of these questions that we're asking, and again, something here just to kind of keep them a little bit more committed. Our team will call you at your time scheduled. Please commit to your appointment by typing in the sentence in the box below. Yes, I promise I will answer the phone for the breakthrough strategy session when you call. On a scale of 1 to 10, or excuse me, on a scale of 1 to Chuck Norris, how awesome are you? Just still something to add some humor in there, right? But every question that we ask has a qualified process behind it. And there's a methodology behind each question, because if they fill this out and they don't meet the criteria, then it doesn't mean I won't get on the phone with them, but it's probably a client that I won't move forward with unless they didn't fill this out properly and they tell me something different on the phone. But if a prospect actually fills out this information the right way and they check off all the boxes, then before I even get on the call, I know that I have a qualified prospect. All right, and let me show you how all of this flows. So specifically for marketingagency.com, we have a mini course, we have a webinar, okay, and we're driving them, So we're using things like Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, and we're driving them to a webinar, okay? Now, in that webinar, it's a 50-minute presentation where we walk basically anyone who's brand new agency owners, and we show them how they can start today and start to create and grow their own digital marketing agency or marketing consulting practice just based off of the training video that they get. And then at the end of the training video, we say, hey, if you would like to hop on a call, let's jump on a calendar call, right? So let's book a time on the calendar, all right? And then after they fill out that calendar based off the time around their availability, okay? They then go to an application page where we qualify them one step further. And then from there, it then goes to an enrollment process. So they get on a strategy call, okay? And then we then enroll them. So strategy call. Right, and then we then enroll them into the program. All right, now the reason why I'm showing it like this, because it will be the same exact thing for your agency in terms of how you would structure your inbound lead generation funnel. So what I mean by that is that you're going to have whatever sources of traffic in which that you're going to be driving traffic to. You're going to be driving traffic to a lead magnet, whether that's an ebook, a value video of some sort, whatever that is. Maybe it's a case study video. After the case study video, we say to them, hey, if you like what you saw and you want help implementing this into your business, we have some time available on the calendar over the next few days for you to book a call. We get them to the calendar page where they book a time, and then we then send them to the application page. Now, for any reason, right, for any reason in which that they don't, let's say they watch the value video but don't book on the calendar page, well, we have an email sequence. We have an email sequence for every step of the way. So if they watch the value video but didn't book on the calendar, they're getting a follow-up email sequence that's going to drive them back to the calendar page. If they get to the calendar page but don't actually, if they get to the calendar page but don't actually book, if they book a time but don't fill out the application, they're then going to get an automated email sequence driving them back to the application page, right? Or let's say, for instance, you know, they filled this out, but they didn't fill this out and the time expired. Well, then we're driving them back to the calendar page. Okay, so we always want our prospects to complete 2 steps, right? The two most important of the qualifying steps is the calendar and the application, hands down. Why? Because this is where we have, you know, they're going out of their way to book a time on the calendar in which that makes sense for them. And then if we can get them to fill out this application, it will then show us that this is a qualified prospect. And then the next step is getting them on the strategy call, right? And now with the agency sales cycle, I like to break it down into 4 different steps. And you've probably heard me, if you've been in this group before, you've heard me talk about it, but you have the introduction stage, you have the interview stage, you have the presentation and close, and then you have the retention phase. So because this is an inbound lead, there's really not a lot of introduction that needs to be done, because why? The indoctrination has come from them seeing your ads, watching your value video, or reading your ebook or any sort of lead magnet that you have, booking that time on the calendar, filling out the application. You know, at this point, if they fill out that application, they're a qualified lead. And that KPI in which that we're tracking, which stands for Key Performance Indicators, that KPI is cost per completed application, right? That's the metric in which that we're tracking there. Because yeah, it's great if they book on the calendar, but if we don't take that one step further to qualify them, I don't see them as a hot lead. I see them as more of a warm lead that's just not ready to pull the trigger. But if they've watched our value video, they've booked a time on the calendar, and they fill out the application, that's a hot lead that's ready to move forward, right? All he needs to do is go through now this agency sales cycle. So what that means is that on the strategy call, this is where we actually conduct the interview stage, where we ask a series of questions based off the application to kind of dig deeper into the prospect's pain points. And then we then move them into the presentation stage, which is basically the proposal stage, right? And you know, I know that some people like to skip steps. I'm a big proponent. I don't like to skip steps, even if it takes me an extra couple days to close the lead. I always like to present a proposal and a presentation because it allows us to show perceived value to the prospect, and they're able to really visually see what value they're getting for the dollar amount that they're going to be paying. And then from the presentation stage, this is where we close, right? And the presentation and the close stage go hand in hand, because at the end of the proposal, I'm usually going to ask for the close. Now, for any reason that there's any issue or anything with the proposal, or maybe they wanted something different, or the proposal wasn't what they wanted specifically, then I'll hold off from asking for the close, or I'll try to rework the proposal as we're sitting there, and then I'll recap with the prospect to make sure that I have everything right, and then I'll ask for the close. All right, and then from there, I then go into the onboarding process, getting them on an onboarding call, and having them fill out all the proper information that they need in order for us to be able to conduct whatever product or services that we're offering them. So I just wanted you to see how to go about this, right? Onboarding, and there you have it. So again, this is, I know it's rough, but if you have any questions, please drop them down below. Now, in terms of what paid advertising platform you should start with, that is completely dependent on where your target audience is hanging out. Now, I know that's a loaded answer, and I know that Facebook obviously is a hot point for a lot of people. But if you're somebody who thinks that you might have a better chance converting on Google, then that's where you should run your ads. Now, with that being said, running Google ads to cold traffic is actually a lot more expensive than Facebook and Instagram ads. So what I like to do is I'll run Facebook and Instagram ads to cold traffic, and then I'll retarget them with Google display ads, right? Or I'll retarget them with YouTube ads. But I'm always usually running cold traffic through Facebook and Instagram ads. to my lead magnet, and then I'm obviously using retargeting at every step of the way. So if someone watches the value video but doesn't book on the calendar, they're going to get a retargeting ad. If someone goes to the calendar but doesn't go to the application, they're going to get a retargeting ad to push them back to the calendar, right? And then if someone actually fills out the application, that's a lead in which now that we have their information, we know what type of business they have, and now, for any reason they don't show up to their strategy call, we can, go through the process of following up and focusing on getting them on that strategy call. So I hope all this makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them below. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Now, I want to talk a little bit about when you should be using paid traffic for your agency or consulting firm. So, this is something that I see a lot of new agency owners make the mistake of, if I turn on a Facebook ad, I'm going to start generating leads. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Now, why? Because the truth is, with paid traffic, unless you've actually spent money testing, optimizing, you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. You can start with a good base, but until you've actually spent money testing to see what your actual, what your cost per lead is, what's your cost per click, what's your cost per acquisition, right? Like, how much is it costing you to acquire a new customer? These KPIs, you won't know until you actually spend money. So whatever your, let's say, for instance, you offer SEO services at, $1,000 a month, right? You have to see how much it's actually going to cost you to acquire that customer and what your actual margins are and what you'll be happy with. So what is the most you're willing to spend to acquire a customer? Maybe it's $500. Maybe it's $1,000. Maybe you're willing to spend more to acquire that customer, right? But that is why you'll never know until you actually spend money. So if you're at a point in which that you feel like you're ready to start adding some inbound lead generation strategies into your business, okay, what I would recommend doing is, if you have case studies, I would use a case study video. They're fantastic. If you are not there yet and you want to try using an ebook, I would recommend starting there as well. Depending on where you are, there's no right or wrong way to do it. But what I would tell you is focus on using platforms like Facebook and Instagram first, and make sure that you have everything set up the right way. Make sure you have all your tracking set up the right way. You have all your custom conversions set up the right way. You have your custom audiences set up, and obviously you have your email marketing. You have your email marketing automation set up. So again, as soon as they opt in here, they're going to get put into a specific list that gives them an email a day, depending on whatever action that they do. So for this specifically, after they've watched our value video, this first email will be like, hey, thank you for opting into our value video. We hope that you enjoyed it. We wanted to give you, maybe you're offering them a free gift for anyone who watches the video, right? So maybe you're offering them a copy of the replay of the video. Great. So in the first email, you give them a copy to the actual video. Here, steps 2 and step 3, day 2 and day 3, what I like to do is I like to add case studies in here and social proof. Nothing drives the needle faster than seeing other people and then prospects seeing other people in the space getting results from your products and services. So a lot of these email sequences are focused on showing proof that you can deliver results for the prospect's specific pain point in which that they're facing right now, right? Their biggest challenge. And then we qualify them one step further with the calendar. We then qualify them one step further with the application, and then we move them through the agency sales cycle. So yeah, that is actually the full funnel that we use. You see it step by step here. This can be whatever you want it to be. So let's say you don't feel like you're ready to run paid ads, no problem. Your LinkedIn direct outreach, your trade shows that you go to, cold emails, cold calling, whatever it is that you're using. If you get that person's email address, put them through the funnel. Right, so if you're making a cold call and you say, hey, hey, I'm looking to reach such and such. Does this person have an email address? Great. They give you their email address. Put them through to your value video. Send them the email sequence follow-up and get them moving through your actual system. Right, get them moving through your actual sales cycle, moving down from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. That is exactly how we do our inbound lead generation strategies. And I'm actually going to show you an example of a marketing agency that does a really good job of this. It's called Life Marketing. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them, but you can see here that they use Linktree. Linktree is just basically a site in which that you can manage different links from one place. So You can see here the contact us page, limited time free graphic requests, social media marketing, search engine optimization, right? So all of these things are going to a specific page. So if I show you, right, and you can see here that they're trying to rank for this specific Atlanta SEO company, email marketing agency. That's the keyword in which that they're trying to rank for, right? And they have specific landing pages for each link that they're driving to. Now, what you'll notice here, though, what I love what they do is that as I scroll down, they have different lead magnets for different niche markets. So you can see here that they have, B2B marketing, beauty and skincare, dental, e-commerce, financial marketing, fitness marketing. Now, usually if you're a new agency owner, I would highly recommend staying away from this because it takes a lot of time and energy to try to communicate your message with 20 people than it does to actually try to communicate with one person. But with that being said, once you dial in on one niche, once you have success with that one niche, you can replicate the same process into different niches. So as they've done here, so if I click here, right, you can see this is going to dental marketing services. The landing pages all look very, very similar, right? And they have the services and the products that they're offering. And as you keep scrolling down, everything is the messaging is geared towards dental practice owners. It's not geared towards anything else. It's very niche specific. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about crafting your marketing message. So, if a dental practice owner comes here, they know that this is specifically for dentists because it's written all over the landing page. So for your lead magnets, if you want to focus on different niches, focus on crafting your lead magnets and going through that same process of 1, conducting the customer research, 2, creating your lead magnets in which that the messaging is directly towards whatever niche market that you're focusing on. Okay, and again, as you can see here, a lot of these landing pages are the same. It's just they're switching up dental with healthcare. Okay, they're just switching up different words in which different keywords to make the messaging fit to whatever that audience is. And as we keep scrolling down, you can see here they have marketing for law firms, marketing for doctors, nonprofits, professional services, real estate marketing. So this is just one example that I wanted to show you because, again, I really like what they're doing. But you can see, again, same thing, online marketing for law firms, acquire more clients. And simply all they're doing is just creating new pages in their WordPress site. Opt-in clear on above the fold. So as soon as you actually load the page, there's an opt-in for you to actually talk to an expert, a little bit of social proof, right? And then the verbiage and the terminology is all geared towards lawyers, right? So again, this is a great example. If you want to dive into different niches, if you're at that point in your agency where you're ready to dive into different niches, make sure that you're focusing your marketing message geared towards whatever that niche is, and also that you're driving that traffic to this landing page, right? So if I was going to be doing lawyers, right, I'm not going to drive general traffic to this landing page. It wouldn't make any sense. I'm going to target my ads specifically for law firms, attorneys, lawyers. That is who I'm driving traffic to. So each one of these pages is driving traffic to a different targeted audience. And the messaging is geared towards that so that you're putting the right marketing message in front of the right audience at the right time. So I hope that this is extremely helpful to anyone who's looking to dive into new niches. What I would recommend, again, do your market research, gather some customer data, get some feedback, see what the biggest challenges that your niche market is facing, and then you can craft your marketing messages, you can craft your lead magnets based off of your data that you collect. And then once you have those lead magnets created, you can then start to run paid traffic to your landing pages to start generating some inbound lead flow. If you have any questions, again, if you're tuning in on the live, #team live, if you're tuning on the replay, #team replay, be happy to answer any and all questions, even if it is on the replay. And if you haven't already, we just launched the Digital Marketing Agency Accelerator Program 2.0. If you have any questions about that, a lot of our clients have seen great results with it. I know Tom actually just closed a $2,000 client. We had one of our other clients actually close, I think it was like $1,000 or $1,500 client. So it's an 8-week program that teaches you how to start and grow your own digital marketing agency or marketing consulting firm from scratch. And you comes with live Q&A calls, weekly mentorship, etc. So if you're interested in that, drop a comment below. I'll send you the link. If not, I look forward to doing this again very soon, and have a great day.